In this video, I just want to share with you my honest perspective, be very raw and authentic with you of my experience climbing the corporate ladder, working in tech, working the 9 to 5 job that got me a bunch of money, and then leaving the corporate world and being an entrepreneur, being a content creator, and doing that for about a year and a half. And I feel like I have a pretty good perspective of the good, the bad, the ugly, just sharing with you everything that I've experienced. So maybe if you're working in corporate right now, maybe if you're in tech, maybe if you're a recent content creator, you'll relate to this, and hopefully it can provide you some insight, some guidance, some perspective. So first, let's just start with the working in corporate. I worked in corporate for over 5 years. I started in Canada, in Vancouver. I got an entry-level sales position when I was, I think, 25, and this was my first experience in corporate. I really wanted to get a corporate job because I studied social work in college in Canada. We call it university. And I really wanted to get a corporate job because I wanted to just make good money. I wanted to do sales because I like talking to people. And I used to play soccer at a very high level. And I met this guy I used to play soccer with. His name was Luke. Shout out Luke. And Luke was like, dude, I'm making a ton of money in sales and it's not that hard, and I think you'd be great at it. So he got me an interview, and I did a couple interviews, and I got my first entry-level sales position in tech, in corporate. It was my best money ever. Like, I hadn't made money like that before. I think it was like $70,000 Canadian a year on target earnings, but there was opportunity to really overachieve your targets and make more money. And I got my first taste at corporate. They shipped all the equipment to my house because it was in COVID. So I was actually not even working in an office, but I was in my bedroom. But they gave me like this nice Mac and all this gear. And I felt like there was some nice benefits. I had a little stipend to order some Uber Eats, and I had the salary coming in every 2 weeks, and it just felt really good. It felt very good. I was like, I'm getting paid. I can pay my rent. I can pay for food. I got some extra money to save. I can do fun shit. I can pay for the gym. It felt very good. I felt very independent. And I think for any guy, this is a great feeling to get your independence, to get that first corporate job. I'm not completely anti-corporate at all. I think there is a place for that person who wants to work in tech, who wants to work for a company. There's a lot of money to be made, and you can totally go down that route. And remember, I did that for 5 years. So I did that in Canada. And then I got this amazing opportunity to work for a company called Monday.com. I applied for the job, but I also really wanted to move to Israel because I'm Jewish. My dad's Israeli. I always had this dream to relocate to Israel. I had grown up my whole life in Canada, and I wanted to take an opportunity in tech in Israel. Tel Aviv is a sick tech scene. So I got this entry-level position for this sick company called Monday.com, moving away from the Canada job, which was like this random company. Monday.com is quite known in the tech world. So I did all the paperwork, moved to Israel, and then started my first role in this tech company, and this was insane. The office was 20 floors. There was a gym in the office. There was unlimited food. The benefits were like something I had never experienced before. It was so sick. I was making decent money, but the benefits were amazing, and I felt very taken care of by my employer. And it was also a really nice, safe, good feeling. And there was good energy of the colleagues and just everybody around. And I honestly wasn't hating tech or corporate at this time at all. I was really vibing. And this was like year 2.5 of climbing the corporate ladder. And then I was kind of doing this entry-level sales position, cold calling, LinkedIn. That got tiring, and that was a grind. But I got really good at selling and just being a good communicator and being articulate and learning these kind of sales methodologies that I still use today now in my entrepreneurial world and for my coaching. So that is very helpful. But then I started climbing the corporate ladder there. I eventually got promoted to be an account manager. So I was a business development representative, and then I got promoted to be an account manager. And that was dope because I got a huge pay raise, and the work got a little more chill actually because I had a little more freedom. I wasn't being micromanaged, and things were good. I was vibing. I was like, corporate is dope. I have great benefits. I feel good. But then something started to happen. I got very comfortable in the job. I got comfortable with the pay, and I started not to take care of myself. I wasn't going to the gym as much. I wasn't eating as good. I had all this like free food around, so I was emotional eating a lot. And I started to gain a bit of weight. I was very athletic as a teenager and in my early 20s. And for the first time, I was looking in the mirror and I wasn't feeling like a weapon. I wasn't feeling like a beast. And I always have had this burning kind of desire mixed with fear of like being this top performer in all aspects as a man. So, I want to be the top performer at work, but I also want to be the top performer athletically. I think that comes from me playing soccer and being competitive. So I felt in my gut slowly that I was letting myself go, and this was not a good feeling. But the benefits were good. The money was good. Everyone around me was like, this is what it is. Mid-20s, late 20s. We make good money. We chill. And it's okay if we have the little dad bod, or it's okay if we start to let ourselves go. And this started to wear me down because I felt in my mindset I wasn't as sharp. I wasn't as hungry. I started to kind of coast a little bit. I started to see the people around me. I started to see my manager and my manager's manager, and I didn't feel inspired. And for the first time in my life in corporate, I started resenting it. I started saying, this might not be for me. What happened to the fit beast mode of that version of me that I used to have? I don't know where the fuck this guy is anymore. And this is when my burning desire started to really manifest, where it was year 4 of corporate where I was like not happy in corporate. I was not feeling good. I started to feel very short and abrupt with my colleagues. I didn't feel inspired, and I started to really struggle mentally and with anxiety, and I started to wake up in the morning and say, what the fuck am I doing? And I was partying a lot. I was drinking. I would do recreational drugs on the weekends, and just like I was in this loop of kind of feeling okay and then feeling like shit and then feeling like really like shit. And then, my habits were kind of just going down. And James Clear, I go on a little tangent here, but James Clear has this amazing quote that show me your habits and I'll show you your future. And your habits are either building you up into this amazing beast mode of a guy, or your habits could be slowly destroying your future. And that is what I felt was happening. So I had to make a change. And then I started to get very inspired within myself. And I started to try to activate all this energy to say, I'm going to make a change, because I knew deep down I needed to make a change. I was capable of changing. And I just flipped the switch. And I channeled my inner athlete. I channeled all that knowledge that I used to have with training and strength. And I built myself a plan of getting to the gym, of starting to eat more clean, of doom scrolling less, of surrounding myself in environments with other beasts, other guys who maybe were in amazing shape, who maybe were cool entrepreneurs. I was consuming lots of content, but I started to consume more intentionally. And I started to slowly rebuild my body and my mindset. And I did this while I was working in corporate, because I wanted to make the decision to leave corporate out of abundance and strength and confidence, and not out of weakness and feeling all kind of low frequency and shitty. So fast forward 6 months of locking in, and things really started to change for me. I got in the best shape of my life. I was the leanest that I ever had felt, and I started to feel better. I started to feel in more momentum. I had more confidence in the office. I had a new aura around me. I started a run club with one of my friends in Tel Aviv that started to take off. Opportunities started to come to me, and it started to become very clear that I wanted to go down this path to maximize my potential. And then I made the decision to start creating content, to open an Instagram account, to start being consistent. And that all came from proving to myself that I could get back in amazing shape. I could start feeling amazing. And then I started to go down that path. And then I've become now an entrepreneur, a coach, and I've done that for a year and a half, and I've been consistent with that, and I left corporate, and I'm kind of not filling in some of the dots here because I want to keep this engaging for you, but I've now been the corporate guy, and I have now, today, am an entrepreneur, coach, mentor to other men who are working in corporate, who want to feel better with their mind, with their body. So I've done both, and both are amazing and both have challenges. And this video is just to share with you my journey and some of the pros and cons that I can just say off the dome here. With corporate, you have this safety net, which is really nice. So you have the consistent salary, you have the benefits. And I will just say with that, don't get too comfortable. That's what I would tell myself a few years back. I could still be in corporate. There's a version of me that could still be in corporate right now, but be in the best shape of his life and feel amazing and be making good money and still have maybe the run club on the side that I started with my friend and still build community on the side and still have all these passion projects. And there's a version of you that could be in corporate right now who is 10 out of 10 man. So you can still do that and feel good. And then what I love about this entrepreneurial content creation path and being a coach is you have this sense of freedom. You don't have this manager breathing down your neck. You have freedom in your schedule. You have freedom to dream and inspire and do whatever the fuck you want and create content for whoever and help people. And that's something I didn't feel I had in corporate. I have so much more freedom, and I'm able to go to Bali for 3 months if I want to be inspired there. And now I'm back in Israel and in Tel Aviv, and I'm here rebuilding with family. And I can go to a retreat in a week in Portugal if I wanted to. So you have this freedom that you don't have when you work in corporate. However, there is uncertainty and there is challenge, and the money isn't constant, and you can make a living and you can make an income. And thank God I've been able to make money from my content and from my coaching. But there are months where it's harder and you are tested, and it is you, yourself, and I, or me, myself, and I. And that can be more challenging. And there's more risk involved, but there's higher reward. And I'm still learning as I go. This is really a raw video just to share with you all the thoughts. And I hope that this was helpful in any way. And connect with me if it was. Comment down below. You can always say hi on Instagram. Send me a DM. I want to be there to help you. Where are you in your journey? Are you working in corporate right now? Are you thinking about quitting your 9-to-5 and becoming a full-time content creator? Any wisdom that I have, I want to be able to share that with you. That's why I'm creating content now. That's why I'm moving towards more long-form content. So if you're still here, I appreciate you. I'm sending you lots of love. I will see you in the next video. You rock.